This question looked like a question about volume, but really it's not question about the volume, it's more a question about algebra. So in the beginning, we are given a formula that we haven't seen before, and this formula means that formula is the volume of the cup, meaning the part of the sphere that is cut off. Okay, so here we have in part B, a different sphere has a radius of 8 and a cup with a height of y. The volume of this cup is 36 pi y units. Use this. So use what? Use this and this information given to us and what? And the expression of C above. So use these to arrive at this answer. That's basically what they are saying. Okay, so let's replace the letters with the numbers. So we are told that the volume of the cup, and in our formula, the volume of the cup is this C. So this C is equal 36 pi y. So that's what we write. 36 multiplied by pi multiplied by y. And that is equal. And then the other side of the formula, so pi multiply by not k, because they are telling us that the height of the cup, which represent k is y. So we just replacing our letter k with another letter y to the power of 2 divided by 3, and that fraction is multiplied by the bracket 3 multiplied by r, which is the radius, and here we are told that this sphere has a radius of 8. So multiply by 8 minus, and again, instead of k, we are putting y. Okay, so where are we going with this formula? This is where we are going. That's where we have to arrive at. So the idea here is that we are comparing what we have with what we should have, and that is giving us an idea what to do. So how are we going to solve that? Okay, I'm saying what is the same, what's different? I can see that there is bracket, okay, there is 3, there is 3, there is 36. I'm saying, okay, as if they switch side. Fine, it doesn't matter. I can have 36 on this side of the equation. They don't have here pi, and then they don't have y. So I'm saying to myself, okay, how about I eliminate that pi and that y on this side of the equation? So that way I have 36, so this side will look exactly like that. Now, what's the story here? What am I going to do? Let's write it in a different way so that it's easier for us to see it. When we have a fraction involved, I'm always saying, you know what, write everything as a fraction, then it will be easier to see. So let's break it down. So I'm going to take that y here beside the fraction because I can. I'm not changing the value of it, and that is multiply by 3 by 8. We can actually multiply that. 3 by 8, that's 24 minus y, and we write that as a fraction over 1. So that's the top of the fraction, and that is divided by the bottom of the fraction, which is pi over y. Over y. Okay, so here let's change that division into multiplication, because if we have everything as a matter of multiplication, then it is easier to deal with. Because when I divide fraction by the fraction, what do? I multiply, turn the second fraction, that one, upside down. Okay, so now I can start, I can see, actually, I am even going to change this power of 2 to y multiplied by y, so that everything is broken down now. So as you can see it, when you change everything, if you are dealing with a fraction, you have a multiplication, just change everything to fraction. It will make it easier. So how do I multiply fraction by the fraction? Well, we multiply top by the top by the top by the top, and then bottom by the bottom by the bottom. Now, before we run off to do that, so here we can see that this pi and this pi will simplify out. How come? Because pi divided by pi is 1. What is the reason that I can do that? Because all here I have a multiplication sign. And then as well, I have one y here and one y here that I can eliminate. Okay, so back to what do I need to have on this side of the equation. So I need to have a bracket 24 minus y. So that's fine, I have that. And then I have to have y over 3. So let's see what are we left over with. So here we have 36 equal. So here on top of the fraction, I have y multiplied by 1. So it's just y. And then it is multiplied by the bracket. And at the bottom of the fraction, I have 3 by 1 by 1 by 1 by 1. So I have 3. And that is multiplied by the bracket of 24 over y. Yeah? So we arrive at what they were looking for. But that's what I'm saying. You have to spot the difference. What do you have and what they have? That's the first thing. And second thing, when you are dealing with the fraction, write everything as a fraction. Then you can see that clearly. Okay, let's have a look at the second part. So in the second part, they are saying multiply out and solve the equation to find the height of this cap, meaning find the value of y. Now, even if we couldn't really arrive at the answer in the first part, we can still deal with the second part because we have an equation and we have to solve it. Multiply, so we are multiplying the bracket. Again, how do I multiply fraction by a number? So if I write it as a fraction, it is easier to see. And then y over 1 equal 36, yeah? So you can see top by the top, bottom by the bottom. So I have 24y over 3 minus y by y, that's y to the power of 2 over 3 equal 36. And we have two options here. We can either eliminate this fraction, so we can multiply everything by 3 if you want, or not. Or we can leave it in a fraction form. We can just bring that y beside the fraction. Why will we do that? Because I have y to the power of 2 and y. If you have a letter to the power of 2, what do you think about minus b formula? Yeah. So in order to use minus b formula, I just need to have all numbers on the same side of the equation. So I move that 36 to the other side. Like I'm saying, you can simplify it or not. 24 does not divide by 3. So now we have our value of A, B, and C, and we replace that in minus B formula. So minus then the B value 24 over 3 plus minus again b 24 over 3 to the power of 2 minus 4 multiplied by a, which is minus 1 over 3, multiplied by c, which is minus 36, everything under the square root, and that divided by 2 multiplied by a, which is minus 1 over 3. We put all of that in the calculator and we get two values. One is y equals 6 and the second one is y equal 18. What do we need to remember about quadratic, about minus b formula? If both answers are applicable in the context of the question. So what were we told about the letter y? And you can see it here in this first part we were told that y is greater than 0, but at most equal 8. So 6 fulfill this condition. However, 18 is not an applicable answer in the context of this question.